So this captain caught a thief in his own crew who had stolen from everyone on board. So in order to expose the thief, the captain came up with a sneaky plan. On this particular day, instead of bringing the usual millionaire guests out on the yacht, he did something peculiar. He took the yacht out to sea with just his crew, including the thief. But where they were heading was a secret. "Just keep sailing and you'll all find out soon," he said. Little did the crew know that the sole purpose of this trip was to expose the thief hiding in plain sight among them. Although the crew didn't know about the plan, or even the thief, they were in high spirits on this particular voyage. For weeks, they had catered to the millionaire guests, a task that had slowly whittled away their happiness. They fantasized over what life would be like in their guests' shoes, saddened by their reality below deck. And while they were distracted, the thief would sweep right in. That's why the captain's first stop during this guestless voyage was somewhere he knew the thief couldn't resist. A place that was one step above what even their usual millionaire guests could afford. They pulled into Royal Harbor, home to the biggest yachts on the entire coast, a place that only multimillionaires could afford. And, as expected, the thief came out of the woodwork as soon as the crew became distracted by the beautiful yachts, much bigger than any they had ever seen. The high spirits the crew enjoyed out at sea were whisked away as they began dreaming about what life is like on those yachts, not as a crew member, but as an owner. And as they did, the captain was staring down the thief who had no idea he was onto them. As they robbed each crew member, the captain was watching. Now, he needed just one more port call to reveal the thief to everyone. But before pulling away, the captain noted how even their usual millionaire guests only dreamed of owning one of these fine yachts. Then, they were off. The crew set sail once again to another secret destination, and as expected, their high spirits returned when Royal Harbor was out of sight. They didn't even know what had been stolen from them, for only the captain knew. And on this day, the last day before their final destination, the captain made his rounds to each crew member, taking note of the jovial spirit among them. Then, they neared King's Peninsula, home to the biggest mega mansions on the entire coast. And the thief returned again as the crew became distracted, fantasizing over what life is like in the mansions. Now the captain had seen enough, so he organized an all-hands meeting as the mansions loomed in the distance. "There's been a thief among you," the captain announced. Gasps and murmurs spread throughout the crew as their heads turned from left to right. "That's right," the captain continued. "A thief so cunning, he's been stealing from you every time we've taken out our guests. And of course, it costs a pretty penny to sail on this yacht with us, so it should come as no surprise that they've stolen from our millionaire guests as well." "Stealing from our guests?" one crew member gasped. "They should be sent overboard," another cried. "Sent overboard, yes," the captain chuckled. "Unfortunately, that's not possible for this particular thief." Eyebrows raised as the captain continued. "You see, this trip has been the most joyous I've seen all of you in months," the captain said. "But when we bring our guests on board, that joy dissipates as you compare your lives to theirs. And for those millionaires, their joy dissipates when they see the yachts they cannot afford in Royal Harbor. And even for those multimillionaires, their joy dissipates when they see the mega mansions that only billionaires can afford on King's Peninsula. My point is that the thief has been stealing something more precious than any material object, and that's your joy." The captain peered out to sea. "And while you can't always sail away from these comparisons like we did on this voyage, you can find it within yourself to be grateful for what you do have. And that, my dear crew, is the reason for this trip, to expose this dastardly thief, because at the end of the day, the greatest thief of all is comparison, the thief of joy."